Okay, this is it's the 24th of February and it's 11:40 AM and I'm actually on SEQ, Southeast Queensland Water land, which has an 11,000 volt power line running through it. And if you have a look in the distance, we've also got some extremely high voltage power lines. So there's quite a lot of utilities in this area. In fact, this 11 kV feeder also feeds behind me, comes from the pumping station across the river, across the Brisbane River. So it's pumping water or sewage, I'm not sure which, but it's a public utility. And then this line carries on along Stoomers Road, which is where we're located, about 1 kilometre from Mount Crosby and about 3 kilometres from Kholo and about 2 kilometres south of Lake Manchester Road. So this is all SEQ land here, and also it's shared with Brisbane City Council, who have put in these 2 million trees here, or this is part of the 2 million trees project. And you can see the council regularly mow the track, the access track. But we've had a very big wet summer here, and it's not over yet, being February. So there's quite a large fuel load here, very high indeed, and summer's not over yet. So if this were to catch fire in winter, particularly in August when we get the high winds, you could see a lot of these trees actually have a crown fire going through these trees, because you can see that they're touching or very close to each other. There's no breaks. And all it would take would be some spark, whether it be on this mown track or in the long grass, and we would certainly have quite a disastrous fire here, and it would be very difficult to control once it got off, because to the right of me here you can see we've got this very heavy dense bushland up here in Mount Crosby, and that goes right up through here into Lake Manchester Road, and there's thousands of hectares of forest here. So very high bushfire risk, this area, if the conditions are right, and certainly this year they are right. Well, what's likely to set it off? Well, the reason I'm here today is, look at this pole. Just look at the insulators on this pole. You can see that the one on the right is actually almost fallen out because the crossarm has rotted. And you can see just to the left of the right insulator, the crossarm's almost rotted halfway through. And the other two, 1 and 2 on the left-hand side, they're falling over an angle as well because they've rotted as well. Now, when I came here 4 weeks ago, or about 6 weeks ago actually, those ones on the left were straight up and down. So the rot is quite bad and accelerating quite quickly. Now, I've been in touch with Energex regarding this, and several times in fact, and I've also been in touch with the Pine Mountain Rural Fire Brigade, but there's not much that they can do. They can try and highlight it. And I even received a call from Energex about 4 weeks ago, or maybe 3 weeks ago, about 9 o'clock one night, saying that was this the pole that I'd reported, and I said yes it was. They couldn't get in apparently because they needed keys or something to get through the gates, but they're well aware of it because they've actually been out here to look at it. And also, according to the Energex website, and if you look at this pole, I mean, that would be something in a developing country or third world country, not the sort of thing you'd expect on an 11,000 volt supply going through a fire hazard or fire risk area in a highly sensitive area. I mean, the damage to the wildlife here, just look around. We've got all these trees that the council have spent a lot of money putting in, and we've got wildlife in the area too. I'm sure there's wallabies and there's even platypuses down in the river here, koalas, so any of these would be burnt out, and you've got this rotting infrastructure going through that Energex are responsible for. And according to the Energex website, they use high resolution cameras on helicopters to inspect all of their 18,000 kilometres of power lines, the 11 kV ones especially, the high voltage ones, pre-summer every year, so they must be well aware of it. Also, any reports from the monitoring activity and any rectification activity goes to the executive board, so the Energex executive board must be fully aware of this as well. And that's actually in their 2010 bushfire plan, so they've even got a bushfire plan, and this area would be one of the areas that they'd be spending the most money on because it's extreme risk. Not only have we got this fire risk here, but we've got these big high voltage power lines. If you get flames go up into those, that will cut the main power to Brisbane, or wherever that's going. It's a well-known fact that fire will cause these high voltage power lines to short out. And this pole's not unique. The next one up is not much better. All 3 insulators on it are leaning over as well. And this one's particularly bad because it's not only leaning over, but we've got this rot in the crossarm, as you can see. So the rot's quite visible there. Now, Energex on their website are saying how fantastic they are and what a great corporate citizen they are, and I think they need to employ less spin doctors and more people out in the field in actually repairing this stuff, because our electricity bills have gone up at least 50% in the last 5 years, which is well above inflation, and I believe it's going to go up another 50%, and at least half of those costs are related to line maintenance. Well, I'd like to know where's the money going? Now, if any of you live in the Mount Crosby, Kholo, Lake Manchester area, I invite you to go out and shoot these power lines on video if you see any of these rotting poles, because this is obviously a lot more around, and put them up on YouTube, which is what I'll be doing, because someone needs to expose these people for the total lack of action they're doing here. And it's quite a tragedy that there's a lot of people with the recent floods and fires and cyclones, not floods and fires, floods and cyclones. They've been out there doing good work, and yet here you've got a rotting infrastructure that would do worthy of a developing or third world country, or probably not even that. It's an insult to a developing or third world country. And what are we paying for? And the hazard here is amazing, because you can see here, if that line drops, if that crossarm fails, those lines will come straight down, because I'm on a hill in the middle and the next pole's across a gully, and behind me you can see that there's another gully. So I'm standing on the top of a hill. These lines will come down, they will arc, they will set fire to the grass here, and Energex are fully liable for this because they're fully aware of it. So the reason I'm putting this on YouTube is because I've done everything. I've rung them several times, I've emailed them several times, I've contacted the local fire people, the Bushfire brigade, I've reported where the pole is, and nothing is happening, and probably nothing will happen until a fire happens, and then we've got Black Saturday like they had in Victoria, possibly all over again. These people don't care about our livestock, they don't care about our lives, they don't care about our property, and that's why I'm posting this on YouTube. And just for evidence, so you know, the pole number, the actual pole number, which I've reported several times to Energex, is number 38058, and it's located immediately south of Sturmers Road, approximately 2 kilometres from Mount Crosby and about 3 kilometres from Kholo Road. So thank you for your attention.